More fallout from Republican lawmakers after Major League Baseball decided to move the All-Star game out of Georgia as a result of the state's new voting law. NewsNation's Felicia Bolton is in the newsroom with the governor's reaction and how other states could be affected. Felicia.
Rudabe, today, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp pushed back on MLB's decision to move the All-Star game from Atlanta because of the state's new election law that is considered by some as voter suppression. And MLB's decision could have ripple effects across the country. As of March 24th, lawmakers in 47 states have introduced 361 bills that would restrict ballot access. 3 states have the largest number of bills on the issue: Arizona with 23, Georgia with 24, and Texas with 49. Today, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp responded to Major League Baseball's decision to move the All-Star game out of the state over its recently signed voting law. The governor said the commissioner caved to fear and lies from liberal activists and that they ignored the facts of the election integrity law. As an example, Kemp compared Georgia's 17 days of early voting to other states like New York, which only has 10 days of early voting. He also said MLB's decision is taking money away from hardworking Georgia residents.
In the middle of a pandemic, Major League Baseball put the wishes of Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden ahead of the economic well-being of hardworking Georgians who are counting on the All-Star game for a paycheck. Georgians and all Americans should know what this decision means. It means cancel culture and partisan activists are coming for your business. They're coming for your game or event in your hometown.
Several Atlanta-based companies expressed their own concerns about the new law, including Delta Airlines and Coca-Cola. And there could be a ripple effect in other states where similar bills have been introduced. Nearly 200 companies, including HP, Dow, Under Armour, and Estee Lauder, have urged the protection of voting rights across the nation. CEOs of 193 national companies signed a joint statement that reads in part, "We call on elected leaders in every state capital and in Congress to work across the aisle and ensure that every eligible American has the freedom to easily cast their ballot and participate fully in our democracy." The statement was organized by Civic Alliance, a nonpartisan group of businesses focused on voter engagement. Republicans call those 361 bills a means to protect election integrity. The bills are also made in direct response to the Democratic-backed measure passed in the House in March, expanding voting rights on a national level. Rudabe.
Felicia, thank you. Reaction to MLB's decision pouring in on social media from across the country. South Carolina Congressman Jeff Duncan responding, quote, "In light of MLB's stance to undermine election integrity laws, I have instructed my staff to begin drafting legislation to remove Major League Baseball's federal antitrust exception." From Florida, Senator Marco Rubio, "Dear GOP, MLB caves to pressure and moves draft and All-Star game out of Georgia on the same week they announce a deal with a company backed by the genocidal Communist Party of China. Why are we still listening to those woke corporate hypocrites on taxes, regulations, and antitrust?" Former President Barack Obama posting, "Congratulations to MLB for taking a stand on behalf of voting rights for all citizens. There's no better way for America's pastime to honor the great Hank Aaron, who always led by example." And Dusty Baker, Houston Astros manager and longtime friend and former teammate of the late Hank Aaron, also responded to the move, saying, "This is what Hank would have liked, even though it's in his town. He always had the rights of the people in the forefront of his mind and in his heart." And from NBA star LeBron James, who is a co-owner of the Boston Red Sox, "Proud to call myself a part of the MLB family today at more than a vote. Hashtag Black Lives Matter."